Hello, we are not available now. Please leave your name and phone number after the beep. We will return your call.
Welcome back to Gone Driving. For this week's video, I'll be reviewing the 2021 Cadillac XT4. We'll be going over the exterior, the interior, and then going for a quick drive. If you enjoy watching the video, make sure you hit the like button, and of course, there's more content coming with the XT4, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. The crossover SUV market is a relatively new market, and it's emerging to young adults like myself. People of my age are starting to get into these cars because they want something that's practical, that's an SUV, but still doesn't look bulky, like you're carrying 3 kids and a dog and a bunch of groceries. So what does Cadillac decide to do? Well, they decided to put it out as their entry level. The cheapest Cadillac you can get is the XT4, and they put it out in the crossover SUV form, which is quite nice. But does it live up to some of the competitors like the BMW X1, the Mercedes GLA, the Audi Q3? It's got a lot to compete with, and today we're going to be talking about my thoughts and my experience on driving this for the past few days. Now, we all know Cadillac's biggest and the best SUV that they make, the Escalade. So where does the XT4 rank in that chain of SUVs that Cadillac makes? Well, it goes Escalade, XT6, XT5, and then you've got the XT4. So as I said earlier, this is the entry-level car, entry-level Cadillac you can get in general, and then this is the smallest SUV offered in the SUV lineup. So the XT4 comes in 3 different trim levels. You've got the luxury, the premium luxury, and then the sport. So that was my test of the sport. And the sport has mainly cosmetic features. There's no any technical or mechanical upgrades to the car. So from the front of the XT4, it's a beautiful design. I like the fact that the whole grille is on a bit of an angle. It's going upwards. That looks really nice, and then the whole hood sort of peers down, which is very nice. We've got this nice big Cadillac logo right over here, and then the blacked out grille, which is specific to the sport trim level. In the luxury and the premium luxury, it's not blacked out. I believe it's silver. And then we've got this nice little chrome outline around it. We've got this black plasticky trim level here. Personally, I do not like it, especially in the sport trim level. I really feel like they could have matched the lower portion of the bumper to the body color. I think that would have looked a lot nicer, but hey, we got what we got. And then on the side here, we've got these headlights, nice little finish of Cadillac and the interior of the lights. And then we've got this little waterfall-like design. Looks really nice. There's no fog lights, unfortunately, but it still looks very nice. It's very bright at night, so we'll put a clip on how that looks like. And then also, usually there'd be a camera here, but this tester is not equipped with that HD surround vision package, but it's still there for you if you need it. And overall, just a very, very nice front end of the car. Under the hood of the XT4, you've got a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that puts at 237 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, combined with a 9-speed automatic gearbox, which is plenty for this small little crossover SUV. And then the exhaust, there's nothing really too pleasant about it. We'll still put a clip of the exhaust from the back in a second here. You also have the option to get the XT4 as a front-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive, but with Canadian winter, you have to get the all-wheel drive. I think that's the best option. And overall, just a pretty good powerhouse, very solid for a small SUV like this. So from the side of the XT4, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I feel like it's a little bit squished, and the design just doesn't really suit the front and the back end, but nonetheless, we'll talk about it. So you've got these 20-inch 5-spoke alloy wheels and a diamond cut satin finish. Looks really nice. I think if you're going to get the rims option out, do not get the 18-inch standard rims. They do not look nice. The 20-inch looks a lot better. And then we've also got an active sports suspension that you can spec out in this car. My tester did not have it, but it's an extra $800 feature, I believe, which is basically a damping control system where it monitors the road for every 2 milliseconds, making sure you have the smoothest ride possible. And then from the side of the car, I love how the headlights sort of peer into the side, sort of mimicking that waterfall effect I was talking about, and also kind of looking like the XT5, which is the SUV above this. And then again, we've got this black plastic material. Does not look nice at all. I feel like, again, it should have been body match. I'm probably going to talk about this quite a few times, so bear with me. And then also, we've got this Cadillac logo right over here. No really function for it, just reminding other drivers that you drive a Cadillac. And then we've got these side mirrors here with the turn signals. I really wish they were just the full mirror as opposed to having them half, but it is what it is. And then as part of the sport trim level, you get the gloss black trim levels all around the car. It's really nice. It looks really nice. Probably would look better with a black body color. So this one is a radiant silver metallic color, which is the basic color that you can get. You can pay extra for the black, and I think that would look better with the sport trim level. And then again, on the bottom here, same thing, the plastic, well, this is not plastic, but the black color still follows through all around the car. Again, not my favorite thing. It is what it is. And then with the doors here, I've expressed this concern in the GMC Sierra Denali review. If you haven't watched that, make sure you go do that right now. But it's the same mechanism or same feature here. So if you want to open the car, you have to actually press the button and then open it, as opposed to just being able to slide your hand and then open it. It's a small little worry of mine, but I just wish GM could really change that. And then to lock it, you just press that button right over here, and it's good. My concern is, though, with colder weathers, especially because the fact that I live in Canada and the weather is so unpredictable, when I washed this car yesterday, actually, the button was freezing up a little bit. So maybe it's better for GM just to phase that button out and just have it be keyless, as many other cars are. And then since this is a crossover SUV, the body lines curve off to the back and just round up here. Then we've also got this black gloss black shadow line ending here, the C-pillar, again exclusive to the sport trim level. I feel like the gloss black would look really nice with the overall black body paint color. With the silver, it doesn't really look that nice, especially with this plasticky black stuff. I know I said it a million times, I'll say it again, I don't like it. And then also, to unlock the car, you can actually open it up from the back here, so you can just press this and it locks and unlocks the car. It's a nice little touch by GM. And then from the back of the XT4, it looks really nice, really stunning. So again, as I said earlier, I like the front and the back, not so much the middle of the portion of the car. Looks really squished. But with the LED taillights here, they are finished in a gray silver color. This is exclusive to the sport trim level. With the luxury and the premium luxury, they're just red. Really nice, really luminescent at night. Very, very handy. And then we've got this 350T badge here. Now, I don't know why Cadillac put it there. You know, to a normal person on the road, they would think it's something to do with the horsepower, but this car doesn't have 350 horsepower. It has 237. So what does it mean? Well, it's the 350 Newton meters, which is essentially equivalent to the 257 pound-feet of torque. Not sure why they chose to put the 350T here. They could have just put something else or just not put this badge here at all, but hey, it is what it is. And also, you might be wondering from the back of the XT4 where the wiper might be. It's actually hidden right here under the spoiler. It's a nice, clean way of Cadillac just hiding it. Very cool way of doing it. And then we've got a rear camera right over here. You can also get another camera if you get the HD Surround Vision package, which lets you see the rear camera through the mirror. Really nice as well. We've got an all-wheel drive badge right over here. The XT4 here. And then we've also got reverse lamps actually built into the deflectors as opposed to having them into the LED taillights. Just a nice little way of Cadillac, you know, not doing the same thing that most conventional cars have. And then of course we've got this black plasticky material. I do not like it at all. And then we've got these dual exhaust outlets. They're both functional, very nice. They sound okay, as we heard before. But yeah, with a 4-cylinder engine, that's all you can get, right? And in terms of trunk space, again, this is a crossover SUV, so don't expect a whole lot, but still plenty of space. So one thing before we actually open the trunk, this has the hands-free tailgate. However, I have not been able to figure out why, for the life of me, I can't open it. So usually there's supposed to be a projection right over here under the side of the car here. You're supposed to put your foot here and open it up. But as you can see, no luck. I've tried it hundreds of times and no luck. So if anyone in the comments below wants to let me know how to do it, please be sure to do that. And now let's open up the rear trunk here. So it is a powered tailgate, which is very convenient. And then plenty of space, as you can see here. So with the seats folded, you can get up to 42.9 cubic feet, if I'm not wrong, which is quite a bit of space. And then you can also fold this cover here if you need extra, room to put anything here. You can also tie this with the tailgate so it lifts open with it. We've also got some space down here. There's no spare wheel because these do have run flat tires. We also got some hooks here to tie on any nets or anything like that you might have. But overall, plenty of space for a crossover SUV. And now let's check out the interior of the car. Alright, so sitting in the interior of the XT4 in the backseat area here, there's actually more room than I thought there would be for a small crossover SUV. There's plenty of leg room here. I am sitting at 5'8". In terms of headspace, it's pretty good. I think someone at 6 feet would probably be a little bit uncomfortable. So essentially anyone shorter than 6 feet should be okay and should be comfortable. And we also got these carbon fiber trims here, exclusive to the sport trim level of the XT4. Nice, elegant door handles. Nice big windows. They do round off in the back here, so that is part of the whole experience of having a crossover SUV. We've also got these two vents here I wish it was a little bit bigger. I think it would have been a lot nicer for warming up the car, warming up the back seat area of the car very quickly. We've also got two heated seat areas here in the back. We've got a USB-C port and a USB outlet. We've also got this nice big sunroof here, and also an armrest with two cup holders, not heated or cooled, but still there for you. And also, I feel like overall, four people could, or two people here in the back could sit very comfortably, four people in total. In the middle here, I think a fifth person will be very, very uncomfortable. So that's just the way it is in a crossover SUV. In the front interior of the XT4, as soon as I got into the car, I noticed that it's a pretty simplistic interior with very minimal going on. I think Cadillac was really going for that interior design. On the side here, again, we've got these nice, beautiful, elegant door handles. We've got memory seats as well for up to two drivers, very nice. And then we've got these nice window opening or closure buttons. They're very high quality. It's one of the things that I noticed in this car is that everything feels very high quality. It's not, Cadillac didn't cheap out in any sense. That's really nice. You can also fold your mirrors like so. And then as for the steering wheel here, this is a sport steering wheel as Cadillac calls it, although the only really difference from the luxury and the premium luxury to the sport is the fact that this portion right over here is perforated or bubbled up, but that's about it. I mean, I don't really see any other difference. But it's still a very comfortable, very nice steering wheel with a lot of functionalities and a nice big Cadillac logo. And we also got paddle shifters. I'm not the biggest fan of the paddle shifters, I'll be honest with you guys. But this is not a sports SUV by any means, so it is expected. But when we go for a drive, I'll share that a little bit later. They're not responsive, or they're not really, just don't have high expectations. But also, for the steering wheel controls here, we've got our cruise control, our heated steering wheel, our gap adjustment for frontal collision system, and then we've also got the ability for you to decline the call or use the voice activation in Cadillac. And then also we can go to the next track or the track before, but the only weird or strange thing in here is the fact that the buttons for that are placed top and bottom as opposed to being left and right. A little strange when I got into the car, but you get used to it. And then we also got the scrolling button right over here for your digital gauge cluster, and volume knobs are right over here, so they're hard buttons as opposed to having them in the back as I had them in the GMC Sierra Denali. So a nice little touch. And then for the gauge cluster itself, we've got speedometers that are just analog, and then we've got a digital instrument cluster in the middle here, so that you can modify and use for a bunch of different things. So you can see your gas mileage, your tire pressures, what kind of music you're listening to, and stuff like that. We've got the speed just on top of it, very nicely placed, very good size, and also it's got some of your safety collision system warning available in that right by the speedometer. We also got an optional heads-up display system in the XT4. This one doesn't have it, so I didn't get a chance to experience it, but you can option that out. And then moving on to the center console area here, we've got two big vents here. One of them is actually smaller than the other. Nice little design language or design touch by Cadillac. We've also got one vent here. And also with the sport trim level, as I mentioned in the back seats area, we've got carbon fiber trim levels all over on the car. This is exclusive to the sport trim level. And then moving on here, we've got an 8-inch touchscreen, which this has been bothering me for the longest time as I drove this car for a few days. It's actually angled, so it's actually angled on a bit of a slope or a bit of a incline. I'm not sure why, so it's kind of pointing that way as opposed to having it point to the driver. It's a small little thing, it doesn't really affect the ability for you to see things, but it's still a weird thing. I don't know why Cadillac put it on an angle. And we also got this nice little button here to get to your home screen or home page for the Cadillac system. We've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both wireless, very, very nice. And then for the climate control, we've actually got buttons and the ability for you to change that from the screen here. So you can touch the screen and then be able to control it, which is very nice that the Cadillac gives you the option, or Cadillac gives the owners the option to use the buttons or the screen. For the buttons here, they're very high quality, very easy to use. One thing that I want to applaud Cadillac for is the fact that you can turn on and off the climate control system from here as opposed to having the button somewhere further down. It's a small thing, but I feel like some car manufacturers should take note of the fact that drivers want to be able to access things very easily, so they want it to be closer to them as opposed to further. Then we've got a temperature little cluster area here to just see what temperature your climate control is at. And then we've got buttons here for some of your safety collision warning systems and your heated seats. You can also get ventilated seats and seated massage seats. Those are optional things that you can spec on the XT4. And with these chairs here, so these are actually 8-way chairs, but they're usually by standard 4-way. So again, lots of options, lots of different things for you to do. There's also lumbar support that you can spec out in these seats. These seats are very plush and comfortable. They've held me in for the most part. When we go for a drive, I'll show that as well. And then we've got some storage space here, so you can also put your USB-C or your USB cables right over here. Not a lot of space to fit your phone, probably your wallet, and that's about it. Maybe your keys. And then we can close it up like so. And we actually got space on the sides here as well. So if you have any documents or anything else you want to put, you can do that as well. We've got a nice big gear shifter here. It kind of resembles the BMW gear shifter. I'm not sure if Cadillac was trying to do that, but you have that as well. And then with the volume button here, I love the fact that Cadillac still includes it in the XT4. A lot of manufacturers are phasing it out, but for myself, I think it's very convenient and very good to have. Very easy to use, very responsive. And we've also got a scroller here to just navigate through the whole entire entertainment cluster, which is very nice. I love how premium quality this feels, and I think that is a really good thing. And that's something that Cadillac has been doing in the entire XT4, which is really nice. And then we've also got buttons here to get to your home screen of your infotainment system, so you don't have to actually go through the whole screen trying to find it. Again, very nice with Cadillacs including buttons. That's something, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but that's something that people are phasing, or manufacturers are phasing out. And then for the 3 buttons here, we've got a drive mode selector on the right hand side, which lets you pick from all-wheel drive to sport to off-road to tour. So the tour mode essentially is a 2-wheel drive mode, which lets Cadillac drivers put all power into the front 2 wheels, so it becomes 2-wheel drive. I'm not sure what situation you use it in, but it's still there for you if you need it. We've got our auto start stop, our traction control buttons, 2 cup holders here. They're not heated or cooled, but that's okay, I think. Then on the armrest area here, we've got nice leather covered armrest, and we've got space for things you want to put in. You can also put your phone right over here, so it's a cool way of actually not having to lift up your armrest. You can just slide it over here, and you can actually adjust it. So if you want to adjust it, you just take this clip here and you can move it up or down depending on however much you want your phone to stick out. We also got this tray here that you can move, very nice, and just overall plenty of space in the armrest area. So now with the exterior and the interior out of the way, I think it's time that we take this XT4 out for a spin and see how it handles on the road. Alright, so currently driving the XT4, and my initial impressions after driving this car for a couple of days now is that, this is a pretty easy to drive car. The the powerhouse in this car is pretty satisfactory, and it's got a good amount of technology and luxury convenience features available. So if you're really looking to get into the Cadillac brand itself, I think this car wouldn't be a bad idea at all, because it's got everything that you need, and you can definitely try out all the different GM products available because it's essentially the same across the board. So as I was mentioning earlier, there is enough power, so I'll give it I'll floor it here and we'll see just how it does. So it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, so you can't expect a whole lot from the car, but nonetheless, it still gets going, and the all-wheel drive I think really makes a difference. So as I was mentioning earlier, this car is available in a front-wheel drive platform and an all-wheel drive, but I think for Canadian winters especially, you need to get the all-wheel drive system, especially because at least in this all-wheel drive car, or in the tester that I have, you can actually switch it to 2-wheel drive mode, so you have that option to make it 2-wheel drive. In terms of the safety features, I do believe that this tester is missing just a couple of things, but it still has plenty. It's got the blind spot monitoring system, the frontal rear collision warning systems, and then also the parking sensors in the back. I think the only thing it's missing is the 360 camera, so all the camera angles from the side, the front, the bird's eye view. I really don't think it's necessary in a car like this. It's a pretty small crossover SUV. And also, Cadillac does talk about their rear view camera mirror. And again, we talked a little bit about this in the GMC Sierra Denali video. It's nice, it's very nice, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's necessary for a small car like this. You can see all the way through the back and behind this vehicle, so there's really no point of having that rear view camera mirror. You have to pay extra to get that as an option, and I don't think it's necessary. And in terms of the overall comfort of the car, for long road trips, I haven't really taken a long road trip in this car, but I think it'll be very comfortable. You can get the massage seats, you can get air ionizer, again, as optional features. So that is my next point, is that once you start speccing out options in this car, it can get close to $60,000, and at that point you're paying $60,000 for essentially an entry-level crossover Cadillac SUV. So then it comes down to a matter of whether or not you like the design of the car and just the overall build quality of the car. My biggest complaint, and I can't believe I'm really saying this as a complaint, is the speaker system in this car. It is pretty bad. So that's an optional feature that you can upgrade to the Bose surround system. And I definitely recommend getting that if you're going to get the XT4, because the standard speakers in this car, I've messed around with the treble, the bass, everything else I can manage to play around with, and it still doesn't sound as good as it should. I mean, you're paying for you're getting a $50,000 car, and I think the standard speakers should be good enough. But maybe it is, in part for customers to actually make sure they get the Bose speaker system, which isn't my favorite thing, but yeah, definitely get the Bose system. The two of my biggest complaints with the XT4 are the following: the sound speaker system and the fact that this car does not have an auto hold system. For the sound speaker system, I really do feel like the Cadillac stereo system in this car is pretty bad. Straight up, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I feel like if you're going to option one thing for sure, it's going to be the Bose surround system, because this one is not good. I tried to mess around with the treble, the bass, everything I could, and it still didn't sound good. It feels like the speakers might pop any day, and for a $50,000 car, you don't really want that. So if you're going to get the XT4, you might as well get the Bose surround system. And the second thing that I'm not a big fan of is the auto hold, and I think that applies to actually all General Motor cars across the board. It's just not the XT4, because even on the GMC Sierra, I felt like I could really use that. So the auto hold feature is very prominent in the German cars, and now I think Honda is also including in theirs. It's essentially where you turn it on, and then when you stop at a light, you can literally take your foot off the brake, and the car holds itself, and then when you want to move again, you just put your foot on the throttle and you're good. It's a small inconvenience, I feel like, to most people, but when I drove this car through some stop and go traffic, and having auto hold would have been so much more convenient, as opposed to just having, applying either the parking brake or actually putting the car in park. So here are my final thoughts on the Cadillac XT4. If you're in the market, or if you're just looking to get into the Cadillac brand itself, the XT4 is probably the best car for you to do, especially where we live in Canada. This car will be great all year round. It's got the all-wheel drive system. It is very comfortable. It's got all the technology that you need, so you really can't go wrong. The price point does get a little intimidating at first, but as I was mentioning earlier, it comes down to the design elements, because the prices are pretty much comparable to the BMWs, the Mercedes, the Audi. It's just a matter of whether or not you like the design and the crossover coupe shape of the XT4. But besides that, I think the features-wise, it's all comparable to whatever else is available in the market. So I think that's really good. I also feel like the XT4 might come in a hybrid or an electric variant pretty soon, as General Motors continues to electrify a lot of their models and their cars in their lineup. I wouldn't be surprised for the XT4 to get the same treatment very, very soon. And I think I'll be excited for that, because they could probably get out a lot more power figures with electric motor. I think it'll be a lot quieter. I think it'll appeal to a lot more of the younger crowd. So I think that'd be a good idea for them. So I'm excited to see what Cadillac does with their XT4 model in the years to come.
Knew everything, I got it unlocked. Everybody acting what they not. You looking for somebody, girl, you lost. It's love, Fredo, don't you look into the pot. I upgraded everything, got it unlocked. Take a step back, just give it a thought. Why you acting like somebody that you not?